Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I don't have a microphone, so I'll speak a little louder and closer today. Unfortunately, I don't know what that thing is. It's cheap. I bought it for like $12 on Amazon, maybe a little bit more. I think it was $29, so kind of feel like I didn't get my money's worth. Anyhow, I won't wake my neighbors, but I don't want to be too crazy quiet. So this morning, I'm going to talk to you guys about the top dogs. I think about when Jesus was walking the earth, he surrounded himself and created for himself this duplicity, this discipleship program, mentorship program, leadership program, where he coached the top dogs. He got them, maybe he saw their heart, maybe he saw their motive. You know, I used to, on their resumes, I used to always say that hire for, attitude, and you train skill. You don't need to hire for skill in most careers because you can teach the job, right? Now, obviously, you're looking for a higher up director, manager, CEOs of higher positions. Yeah, you need the skill set as well, but typically they morph into your organization. They'll morph. You could train them the way you want them to. In fact, you probably want them a little bit flexible and untrained, because the more rigid they are in the way they do their things, it's going to be difficult for you as a leader or a boss or an owner of a company to transition them into the way you want them. In fact, there's a scripture that talks about taking them from their youth and raising them up, and then you'll have a son later in life. So I try to hire people that are really, really cool and want to stick around, and I fill them out, ask them questions, but they don't need to know much. You could teach them, you can grow them up, and obviously we need to work on patience and all that fun stuff. But it also depends on your business and all that stuff. But Jesus, he surrounded himself with these motley crew dudes who didn't really know much about life. They were fishermen, they were laymen, they were carpenters. They weren't the high society, right? They weren't the sophistiquat. And so I want to take a little walk down, just 15 minutes of love today, maybe even 13 minutes now, but of what they learned, Peter, James, and John. And the reason why I say them, the three, because if you look at the Bible and you read the story of Jesus, he always had a few dudes with him, Peter, James, and John, right? And a few ladies, Mary, Martha, and a few others. But there was Jesus, there was his top dogs, the three. Then there were the other 8, 9 disciples, okay? And then there were the disciples that he never mentioned. Maybe he mentioned in passing, right? Maybe he made them, he said there once, Jesus, Lazarus, right? They followed Jesus, but they weren't like in the 12, and they weren't in the 3. And the special 3 got like special kind of, favor. Remember, they were on the Mount of Transfiguration with God, and they were like the experience with Moses. So there was these top 3 dudes, and then and levels. There's levels to life. Know that. And so then you had the multitude, and he had compassion on the multitude. So many times it says. So the multitude was a part of his thing, but they were not even, you never heard of them. That's the general population, if you will. And so he had this training program, this mentorship program, this coaching program going for these top dogs, and he stuck with them more. He put more time into them. That's just wisdom. That's what coaching. You're going to find out that about 80%, there's books all about this where they say like 80% of your work, it's done by 20 or 10% of your top players, your top people. That is true. I can't tell you how many times in life, you see out of 30 people, you see 5 people doing the job, and everyone else is talking, eating donuts, having fun. And so, those top producers are what you want to multiply, right? Reward, and that they will, you'll get better results. And so there's some things that I want to talk to you about, learning from these top guys who spent a lot of time with Jesus. And it's important because it's not what you think. Is absolutely not what you think. They thought differently. They were taught to think differently, which we should as Christians. So let me start with James, what James has to say about this. He says, consider it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its perfect result, so that you may be a perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So what James learned from Jesus, walking with Jesus, was his brother, by the way. Like I said, these are the top players, the top dogs. These are the guys you want to learn. You want to read these books in the Bible. And he talks all about suffering. That life is going to be hard, but you don't have to be discouraged and bummed out. You can literally say, hey, I got this. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. Advance, 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 right? You don't have to go, oh man, life's so hard, trial, tribulation, I'm suffering, I did something wrong, right? Life didn't go right for me. That's all a lie. You could literally say, well, the endurance is making me perfect. So I'm failing, but I'm failing well. I'm gonna keep failing. People think failure is this weird, quasi down and out thing that God kicked you to the curb. Maybe life kicked you to the curb. Maybe, your friends, your relationships, it's just not working out for you. I think maybe that's why I'm so positive and being accused of being an optimist most of my life. It's funny because as I get older, I'm even more serious. Jokes that I would have laughed at and things that I would have taken some, entertainment is gone because I'm older and wiser, I guess, but I don't really care. I don't seem like I'm always having that much fun. But people say, oh no, you're not like that. Or one time I was complaining to one of my guys and I said something like, man, I'm sorry I'm complaining so much, because there was this guy who didn't really want to pay the bill, and he goes, no, you don't complain. I said, I'm not complaining. I was complaining, but I even do it with fun and laughter and in a different way, I guess. I just don't want to complain, because big deal. If he doesn't want to pay the piper, I'll figure it out. I'll learn a lesson. And so it's good when things don't go your way, because right here, according to James, you're learning to be better. And now that I look back, man, I had about 10 years where things did not go my way, not once. All the resumes you put out, all of those things. Finally, I did my own thing, and I've never been happier. I've learned a lot of freedom. I've learned about how to be productive regardless of the what's happening to you. You just keep being productive. I learned so many endurance things where I'm almost unstoppable, because I'm not waiting for someone to give me a phone call. I'm not waiting for people to give me a pat on the back, to validate me, to appreciate me. Those things are gone. According to James, I'm trying to be a perfect man. Throw more trials at me. And I'm not even kind of joking. It is what it is. If we're gonna do this and it produces a better man, chalk it up for lessons. And so he says, to be a perfect man, you have to endure trials. Next lesson from our friend Peter. Peter was the one who, remember, he said, I'll never forsake you. He says, I will never leave God. I'll never deny you. And he did. And he wasn't the perfect dude, right? We see him kind of man, he kind of how stuck his foot in his mouth. He always said some stupid things. And so I say stupid things, but I realized how much he was just trying to grow, right? This young person who didn't know anything about God and trying to grow up in life with the Lord. And so I love what he says. He said a few things, but he says this. For you have been called for this purpose, because Christ has also suffered for you, leaving you an example so that you would follow in his steps. So basically, we are following his steps to suffer. So suffer on, people. Don't try to make it fit your way. I always tell my kids, don't pray for an easier path, right? Pray for better hiking shoes. Don't pray for your life to get better. Pray that you become stronger. You become better. You develop the skills and the intelligence and the endurance and the stamina to continue on. Don't ask for it to help you. See, that's the difference. I'm not looking or praying for a blessing. I'm not praying for a whole lot of help here. I'm not asking, I don't call my friends, hey, but I don't even look for jobs. I don't do any of that crap. I just do what I do. And I feel like, if it's a partnership, I've got to help a lot of my friends in the last, 10 years with my wisdom and knowledge and background. I was a manager of a company. I was doing a lot of different stuff. I opened up my own retail shop with a partner. I've had my own screen printing business. A lot of stupid stuff in my life. And you learn from those and grow from those. And I was a trainer, yada, yada. I got tons of kind of experience, but at 35, everything fell apart because I wanted to go get a degree. And so I thought that would be cool. And God took me on a journey. And so I had to go learn the hard way, praise the Lord, the hard way, not the easy way, but I got to see life. And so, but right here, one of the top dogs, Peter says, hey man, you're gonna suffer. And he gave you that example to suffer. So know that. Here's another thing that Peter says, which I love. Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal among you, which comes upon you for your testing, as though something strange were happening to you. It's not strange. Don't freak out. You get in a car wreck today, don't freak out. I hate to say it, but your dog get run over. It's a part of life. Someone in your life may be passing away or sick. These are the things that we endure as life. Get peace with God. Know that this is a part of the reality. And you're able to endure. Some people actually made a joke, say, oh, you're kind of heartless. I'm like, I'm not heartless. This is the life that I'm prepared for. It's not that I'm heartless at all. I have compassion, I have mercy, I have grace, but it is what it is, and I'm gonna be able to go through that rather than back down from that and say, oh, life's so hard for me or for other people and I can't take it. I'm running away from this weird situation. No, I'm gonna run into the fire. In fact, I think about Jesus, how he ran into the fire with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He was running into danger. I want to be that guy to run into the fire. I want to run into the problems. I want to run into the difficult things. Let me be, the guy who has wisdom, insight, and forethought and knowledge to a situation. And that is what a leader does. A leader doesn't shy away from the difficult conflicts. And that's all we do, right? And that's what I didn't realize how non-confrontational I was until I was 35, 36 years old, when life was everything but a problem. I couldn't pay my rent. How do I deal with that? I have to go to my landlord and say, hey, landlord, I have no money and I'm broke and I have no future and I have no job. What do you do with all that, right? And so you learn conflict resolve. You learn how to come to a resolution. You learn how to speak with people, show your cards, but without being depressed. You start learning a lot of things. And like I said, it's almost become second nature for me for conflict. Like I drive down the road, I'm looking for a car accident or something that I can help or serve, because that is my strength now. Learning from, once again, the top dogs. Let's go to John. And John says some really cool stuff. He says this, see how great, this is John chapter 3, verse 1. He says, see how great a love the Father has given us, that we would be called children of God. And in fact, we are. You're a child of God, whether you like it or not. For this reason, the world does not know us, because it did not know him. The world doesn't know you. Do you remember those kids in high school, like you would judge them or yell at them, you'd see a girl fighting or something, you'd be like, oh, you don't know me, you don't know me. Yeah, I went to that type of school. And so like, oh no, you didn't, you don't know me, and they like, don't judge me and all this crap. And what's funny is, that's godly. People don't know you, I don't know you, you don't know me. Why do I do the things I do? You're never gonna find out until we all get to heaven. Because they don't need to know why you do the things you do. They're the world, they're the secularism, they're people that they don't care. They're on a different track. They're not a parallel. They're a mutually exclusive concept. God's ways and our ways. We're not going like this. We're not going down the line together. They are doing different things. We are thinking a different way. Okay? And that has to be understood in Christianity and in growth and in your business and in leadership and in everything you do for the rest of your life, in church, in hobbies. You do it for a different reason. That's why my whole podcast is called Motives Matter, because they do matter. To the world, they don't matter. If you make a buck, you make a buck, right? If you do a business, you do a business. I have these kids that I used to teach entrepreneurship and business and leadership, and all these kids are 18 years old. All they talk about is making money, and let's face it, they get it from their parents. But most parents, all they want to do is making money, right? And they don't know why. Sell bananas by the freeway, sell flowers or whatever makes money. That is not the purpose of life. The purpose of life is to know God. Know your destiny, know who you're created to be, fulfill that, work towards that for the rest of your life. That is the reason why the world goes, what is he doing? What are they doing? What is she doing? They don't need to know. Most people always will call me and go, what are you doing now? Are you still in Arizona? Are you still in California? Are you in Florida? Do you live in Oregon? Or New Mexico for that matter. I've lived a lot of places and I don't owe them an explanation. I'm learning and growing business skills, new ideas, new concepts, new trainings. I don't have to explain why I'm, doing the things that I do. And I feel it's very important for me because this is something that I learned from the top dogs. I learned from these dudes, right? I'm not chasing why you or I need to explain to you, anyone here on a podcast or my parents or my friends, why I'm doing the things I do or why I am the way I am and why I can suffer more than them. I can suffer because it brings me to know him as a perfect man. So I endure the hardships. I can take it, which means, and that's for another podcast, but there is a blessing in being able to take more pressure. Just like working out, to win, you have to be able to take more. To do well in life, you have to be able to take more. You can't quit. Now, let me read one last thing. Going back to Peter. Do you remember Peter, James, and John? The top dogs, top players. As Big Al will say, big players. He says this in 2, and I'll finish up. He says this, they are stains and blemishes, reveling in their deceptions as they feast with you, having eyes full of adultery and never cease from sin, enticing unstable souls, having hearts trained in greed, accursed children, abandoning the right way. They have gone astray. He's saying to this is Peter, they're trained in greed. Our culture is trained in greed by their grandparents, their parents, their cousins, the culture, colleges. They're trained in the flesh. They're trained in that way, the other way, the wrong way. And they're gonna go that way because they're told what to do, and they're gonna wake up one day and go, this is useless. I have all the money in the world. I have new boats, new cars, new hobbies, blah, blah, but I'm lost. If you're a Christian, God doesn't want you to be lost. God wants you to know him. And as you get to know him, what he does is he starts to morph you. But know this, you will look, once again, different than the world. They don't know your ways. They don't know my ways. They are trained in greed. So I say that because most people, most kids that I know, I say kids because, like I said, I just left the high school about 8 months ago, teaching entrepreneurship, and it was all about what they want to do. And half these kids want to sell knickknacks and paddywhacks as long as they can make $1 million. They're happy. No passion, no gifts or skills or talents or nothing that they want to do. They just want to make money. I'm like, there's a lot of ways to make money out there. And so I'm trying to give them the lessons of the Bible and say, well, what do you like? Well, they just go back to money. They do the stupidest things for money. They chase the sky, right? They chase the air, nothing. And so for you today, don't chase money. Don't chase money at all. Don't chase that almighty, coin. Chase the Quan. Chase the Lord. Chase the wisdom. Chase the word. Money will come as a result of what you do well. It doesn't come just because you want to go get money. Everyone's trying to get money. You're nothing special, right? Unfortunately, I have to tell you that. Like, your idea of getting money is not like some great crazy scheme. It's been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. It's what people do on earth. It's the earth's currency. Chase God, purpose, destiny, your passion. Get better at that. Develop that skill set. Get some endurance, right? Learn from the top players. Get some grit in you. Start saying, I want to do this. Make that happen. And then say, okay, Lord, my ways are not your ways. Whatever you want to do. If you want to take me down the 30 road, I'm good. 30-year road, take it. I'm on like the 50-year road. I'm like on the 60-year road. I plan to be a millionaire when I'm 80, just for fun. Money doesn't make me or break me, and that's proven. I'm 47 years old. Look at that right here. Even my beard now. I don't chase money. I chase wisdom, knowledge, understanding. And all you're getting, get understanding. Do I have money? Sure, it comes and goes. Do I have business? Sure. Is it okay? Meh. Yeah, could I grow it? Of course. Can I take examples from the Bible to grow? Yes. And so I encourage you guys, chase the things of God. Do not look like the world today. If you're looking like the world, if you go and you're struggling right here in your mind going, oh, I don't make enough money, stop and ground yourself and say, okay, how do I chase the Lord? Let money be its thing. Let your business do its thing. Be good at being you. Be good at being a Christian first, and let the results do what they will. Thank you guys. Have a fantastic day.